Thank you for still holding on as TMI, and we're looking at the issues about petrol scarcity and Naira scarcity also as it affects the 2023 forthcoming elections. And you agree that it starts with the presidential on February 25, which is barely 17 days from now. Discussing this with me in the studio, at my extreme, I have a legal practitioner who was one-time gubernatorial candidate in Edo State governorship race, and he is Cosmos Irabo. Thanks for coming, Cosmos.
Good morning, Philip, and thanks for having me.
And next to him is a legal practitioner, and he is also a senior pastor of Faith Pillars Gospel Church, and he is Dr. Patrick Awo Osagie. Thanks for coming.
It's my pleasure for having me. Good morning, viewers.
And again, I have a political analyst, and he is Derek Owango. Thanks for coming, Derek.
Thanks for having me. A very good morning to you, viewers.
And of course, joining me via Zoom from Texas, United States, is Ahmed Momodu. Ahmed Momodu is a political analyst and, of course, a social media influencer. Good morning, Ahmed.
Good morning, Philip. Good morning, viewers. It's a pleasure being here.
All right, so let's quickly kickstart this, and I kickstart this with you, Ahmed Momodu, looking at what we have here at present, the Naira scarcity and petrol. Unfortunately, or let's say fortunately, you are not in the soil to really face the challenge or test what we're going through in Nigeria concerning the Naira and petrol scarcity. What do you feel about this? Because a lot of people are saying that the APC government, could be having it all in terms of stepping on the wrong foot by allowing this scarcity of Naira and, of course, petrol to linger, and it could affect it in the election. What do you make of this?
So, Philip, it's a good question, but it's unfortunate that all of this it's a series of unfortunate events. That's in my opinion. Unfortunately, a well-thought-out policy has been allowed to drag. Unfortunately, cultural fixation, because if you look back at it, considering the time that this currency has been changed, we have some adults in Nigeria who have never seen any new currency. It's in upwards of 20 years. And for that generation of Nigerians, the only place they found new currency is either at parties where people are selling the currency, or they are hoarding it in banks, or one of their rich uncles that only spends currency. So what we've met is the combination of our cultural fixation with new currency and government bringing out new currency. So you have banks hoarding currency for no reason. You have the CBN saying that they are issuing out monies to the banks, and the banks are refusing to circulate the money accordingly. So there's a bottleneck somewhere. It needs to be resolved quickly. Our people are suffering unnecessarily. This has also spilled into the fuel situation, because of course everybody knows that fuel is a cash commodity. Most of the operators in that sector, they are cash merchants, and so it has led to a very unfortunate situation where the country has practically grounded to a halt, because policies that are supposed to be implemented fully were not thought out properly. Even the CBN on its own should have been issuing out some of these monies. They have, besides the commercial banks, they even have the smaller merchant banks. They also have the local banks, and they have the little area banks.
Okay, Ahmed Momodu, it will amaze you that even at present there is this accusations and counter accusations in this regard by PDP, accusing the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Ahmed Tinubu Ahmed, saying that he is intercepting and, of course, compromising the system by holding these new Naira notes, hijacking it from officials of the banks, and in order to mop it up for the vote buying tactics that he may be devising for the forthcoming election. How do you react to that allegation?
So let's put it in perspective. What the CBN governor came out and said is that they've been able to mop up in excess of 3-point-something trillion to almost 4 trillion Naira. So my own assumption is that if they've mopped up that amount and we're trying to go cashless, we'll be talking of releasing at least 1-point-something to 2-point-something trillion Naira. Is it not unimaginable that one individual like Bola Tinubu is going to be able to hold on to 2-point-something trillion Naira? That doesn't even begin to make any sense. Now, let us not even ignore the fact that what we are actually talking about, the redesigned currencies, is the 1,000, the 500, and the 200. So the understanding is that we have the 100, the 50, the 20, and the 5 Naira notes that should be in circulation. So if the central bank is even having issues with those redesigned currencies, how about the older ones? What about those older notes? This is a good policy. It has been poorly implemented. They've let a lot of loopholes. People are suffering unnecessarily, and it's the responsibility of the government to get to the root of this matter and resolve it in a timely fashion.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll come back to you, but let's join you, Derek Onwaro. Let's look at the ripples effect of this. What are your fears over this policy that is churning out this way ahead of the forthcoming elections?
Well, my fears is as good as the fears out there in the street. But my concern is the poor implementation of this policy. The records are there. Nigeria government could have learned from the mistakes of the past in relation to implementing these policies by other countries, and how other countries were able to leverage, with this kind of monetary policy. The same time, India and UK, implemented this currency redesign was 2016. While India failed to, catch in on it, because they actually wanted to go cashless. They wanted to be able to track all the monies in the circulation. They wanted less money in the circulation. But when they implemented this law, they gave a space of just 6 months, for the entire phase of this process to be achieved. But in the end, before they implemented this policy, they had like 18 trillion rupees in circulation. But after 6 months, when this policy was implemented, they ended up with like 20 trillion rupees in the circulation. At the same time, UK started their own policy, but it was in phases, because monetary policies like that concerns, redesign of the currency is supposed to be systematic and systemic. You ought to do it in phases. The UK government released the first set of redesigned notes, which is £5, a year after it started the policy. And 1 year after it released the £5 notes, it also released the £10 notes. And within 1 year of releasing the £5 notes, they gave 1 year as the peak. And after 1 year, the entire old notes in the circulation, which is £5, was removed.
And it worked out seamlessly.
Well. Then a year later, after implementing the removal of the £5 note, they also released £10 note, and they gave it another year for it to be redesigned. It will also surprise you to know that America have started the policy of redesign of the currency, of their currency, since 2011. But it will take 15 years' time before they start releasing the new currency, because they know they all have, even as a matter of fact, 4 phases. So Nigeria haven't seen the mistake that India made by hastily trying to, enforce this policy of Naira, of their currency redesign. See the failures that they also experienced. Should have learned from it. Nigeria had to take like 4 months for this policy to take full effect, which is actually unacceptable and is regrettable. As a result of this hasty decision making, the people, the ordinary man on the street, is worse up for it.
Okay, but some are saying that there could be a political angle to this. Of course,
there's a political angle. You see, the Buhari government seem to have been napping for the past 7 years. But having realized that it's just a few months' time before his tenure elapses, he needed to do something that will also tend to write his name in gold. Just like Obasanjo introduced GSM and EFCC, today we are making reference to it. I think the Buhari government, even though it had good plans in relation to for Nigeria going cashless, but it did not start in time, and they did not take cognizance of the fact that proactive vision is the beginning of strategic wisdom. They did it in order for vote buying in election process to be checked, to be forestalled. They also did it for Nigeria to go cashless so that they will be able to track transactions better and they'll be able to also collect taxes more effectively.
So the motives were sincere?
Sincere,
okay.
But the implementation is very poor.
All right, let's take your bite on this, Patrick Osaige. Let's take your bite. Do you see there's this blame game between the PDP, the APC, having this political angle to this whole issue as what should be really articulated upon?
Thank you very much. I don't know why should it be a PDP and APC issue. We're talking of what is affecting Nigerians and not the PDP and APC or whatever the party represents. They are not the country. They are a faction of the country, you know. But there are other political parties. If you feel they are not the only people, you know. I don't really want to take that to heart in that they can be playing their politics on the other hand. But I am mostly disappointed, you know, the Central Bank Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele. I expected more from him. Being a seasoned economist and one who have been saddled with that, you know, big responsibility to, he should know. Like my brother have rightly stated that some very vital points, and I don't think he know better than the CBN governor. I don't think so, because if a governor of CBN with all the laws and all the necessary things, you know you are in charge, and you want to go cashless in a cash-driven economy, it doesn't really add up. And you want it to happen, you know, instantaneously. It doesn't work. You know, we don't really need to have, I'm really sick and tired of this idea of maybe somebody needs to come from Cambridge, Harvard, or whatever. We have our local systems that have worked in time. So we are not that ripped of ideas and sense. It will make it look like we don't know what we are doing. And that's what beats my imagination, because my thought now is not any of us here. If you know what is going out there in the villages, and you know this economy is driven, it's driven by cash. You know, you have people that run their day-to-day daily job that, okay, imagine a molar of a block and the one that does bricklaying, and you have to pay him per day. He doesn't have a bank account. He doesn't even know how to write. How will he feed? And all we tell them, go and bring your account, so that government have said this. It doesn't make any sense. Okay,
but there's this blame game also between banks and the CBN. Yes. The banks are saying that they don't have enough cash to pour into circulation. Why the CBN are saying that even the banks are holding it? Now, how do we come in between?
I disagree with the CBN. See, you know, when we say there's petrol, we have petrol everywhere, they are holding it. You don't hold what is available.
Oh, they don't.
You don't. If it's really available, if the banks, like, okay, for instance, I don't want to mention the bank, a particular bank, they load their ATM every day, is it every day now? Daily, 15 million. The ATM alone, and it's still not enough. You are giving such a bank 4 million for a week. What are you talking? If the money is there, they can't keep it. EFCC and ICC and the DSS, they have gone to the banks to check their vaults to see where they are hiding the money.
But is it not possible that it's already in the hands of money bags? Is it not possible that it went through back door?
If it's in the hand of money,
don't forget this election here.
Oh, come on. Would you do those? Okay, where's intelligence? Okay, you that took the money there. Then why can't you go check? Are records not going to be kept? If maybe will you just go to the bank and pull money out without proper documentation and procedural acts at which you go out? Nobody gets money like that. Let's be very honest with ourselves. Okay. So if you say they go, somebody one money bag, okay, for instance, the politician they are suspecting have gone to the bank to use bag to pack the money, will he not feel anything? It will be some company or some structures, you know, that they want to call. They will know, they will ask questions. So money don't leave the bank without records. And moreover, the managers are not in charge of the funds. There are other people that are in charge of cash. The managers of the bank, they are just there to ensure the bank run. So all of these things is systemic and it's from the head offices.
So by this, are you saying that the money bags are having this bite just as the masses are also having it?
Yes, exactly. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I know you disagree, but I'll tell you that.
Let's take your response in that, Cosmos Irabo. Because we're having these issues where we are getting close to the elections. So what do you think could go wrong, or what does it portend for the 2020 election? We have just 17 days to the presidential race.
I have always said it on this platform, that the only time Nigerians are proactive is when it has to do with election. Aside that, we are reactive, and that's why we are where we are today. When this issue of Naira redesign came up, I said in my mind, I said, there are two factors. It's either one, they are trying to withdraw the money so it becomes difficult for the other political parties to have it, so that they alone will have it, or there's a quarrel amongst them, you understand? And they are trying to, you know, strangulate whoever they want to strangulate. And before I knew it, it started playing out. There were accusations and counter-accusations. And I'm aware that 4 other political parties have gone to court. I'm also aware that with regards to this same Naira redesigns, a particular political party, their governors went to meet the president that should be extended after the election. Why after the election? Another one was that the Speaker, House of Rep, was saying that the health must rule, that it must be extended.
There's already a restraining order on that from the courts, stopping it.
I said, but he said it. The another one is that just all around, and it keeps Nigerians wondering. And if you look at it, they are not seeing it from the angle of Nigerians suffering, but they are seeing the angle of it must be after election. After election. Why after election?
To rig.
The intent is clear. It's to rig the election.
Okay, but do you see this policy as correcting that menace?
You see, in the actual facts, if this policy, the intent is genuine, of course it corrects it clearly. But if it's the other way, because at times they could be dangling white behind is black. If the intent is not genuine, you discover that at the end of the day, other political parties will be strangulated financially, while they alone will have the chunk. And another thing we're looking at now, they are accusing the commercial banks. CBN saying we gave you enough money. The commercial banks saying we didn't receive enough money. Yet I learned that a particular commercial bank manager was arrested for holding them. So it's all blame game. Another thing is, another thing you look at is, this so money with the commercial bank managers, where are they going to? Because there was this thing I watched, and I saw they were giving out the same new Naira notes. If you go to occasions, the same new Naira notes are being given to people for spraying. How do they get them? It's through the commercial bank. If people didn't get them through the CBN. You understand? Even if you are going to get it through ATM, how long will it take you to get that kind of amount? Huge one they carry. Occasionally, you see people are spraying the new notes that people are saying you don't have. I went for my Ojon worship in my village, and some people came with both new Naira notes. They were spraying it. I didn't have a cover to spray, 1 cover, because we are the masses. They are not the masses. I don't know what they are. These are big-time politicians.
All right. Thank you. Ahmed Mamadou, just let's check this further. Now, you heard what the discussants are saying here in the studio, and this challenge is still ongoing, that this money is in the hands of some money bags. This money is in the hands of some politicians, and the masses are really trying their way, staying in queues countlessly, to get these notes, but they find it difficult to get it alongside the petrol scarcity. What do you see that it could portend on the 2023 election?
Philip, forgive me, but I heard my brothers. None of them said the money is in the hand of politicians. They both said it's a well thought out policy that has not been executed properly. So let us redirect ourselves. Let us find the root of the problem. The root of the problem is either 1, CBN did not make enough funds available to the banks, or 2, the banks are receiving the money and not transmitting the money onwards to the end users as they should be. Or 3, even if 1 and 2 are wrong, how come CBN is not able to find out if this money is getting to the people that it is intended for, and then find a way to circumvent these processes? We've seen places where they went to inspect the banks, bank vaults, and found new money in abundance there. Let us always tell ourselves the truth. Ironically, if this goes on till the election, it is going to have the unintended consequence of making money scarce, so that vote buying will not be there. So maybe ultimately it's even for the best of the country. People are now going to be able to vote without any kind of financial inducement, and vote on the facts that are presented to them. But we hope it doesn't go on, because a day of suffering for our people is too long.
Yes, but Ahmed Mamadou, let's not forget the Nigerian factor. Like I said earlier concerning some money bags having it, it's all over the social media, and of course even in parties where people throw this money at will. And it's already hitting us here that a lot of challenge could be piling up ahead of the 2023 elections if this money is in the hands of some few, and majority of Nigerians are not getting it. Don't you see that this could bring a challenge, most especially the petrol scarcity still adding up to it, where there could be a challenge of hampering the 2023 elections?
It could, but one of my co-discussants made it very clear that the power of regulating this currency and knowing where and who has this money is with the central bank and the commercial banks. So let us not jump ahead of ourselves and assume the worst of the situation. If this goes on, definitely it's going to affect the elections. If the fuel scarcity goes on, definitely it's going to affect the elections. But we must assume that the government is working in the best interest of our people and they are working to find a solution to these problems.
Okay, let's have you, Derek. Now, we have political parties, about 18 political parties gone in for this position at the presidency. And of course, among these parties, we have major parties that are on the front line. Now, what do you see as the chances of the APC as the ruling party, having a grip of this in election, looking at contemporary issues that we are faced with in Nigeria?
Well, like it is popularly said, all politics is local. It might be arrogant for me to measure APC's chances in Lagos while I am here in Edo State. Here in Edo State, in relation to the failures of government policies and the economic hardship that is inherent as a result of failure of leadership on the part of government, APC stands almost no chance in the forthcoming election, be it presidential, National Assembly, or the status of assembly election. This is my own humble evaluation or opinion. Now, having said this, like I have said before, the policy of Naira redesign and going cashless is supposed to be a beautiful thing. Remember, around 1,500 years ago, China actually invented paper money. They invented currency. And China today is almost the first country and the most successful at going cashless. You can be in China for 3 years and you will not cite the currency bill or note, as it were. So there is need, like I said, for proactive vision. Our leaders must be people who work with the academic body. I know the academic body from time to time always profile solutions, always try to recommend innovations that will grow our entire socio-political and economic system. But government on its part have always failed to work with the academic body. We have very brilliant, manpower. We have very brilliant academic system. They have proven themselves over time once they, go step outside the shores of Nigeria. But our leaders, who have been very comfortable sitting, twisting their chairs, big starting and pepper souping, fail to be working according to how it ought to be. They will just take bare parlor decisions. They will take hasty decisions that will not, go down well with the common man or the average man. And because this policy actually would have been a beautiful one, that is why you see the National Assembly, you see 3 governors of Kogi, Kaduna, I think Zamfara, taking the federal government to Supreme Court to challenge, the Naira policy. But the government of the day would have taken time to plan this policy so that it will be very effective in the long run. Like I said, countries have spent 15 years trying to develop the model for going cashless. So Nigeria, under 4 months, would not have, expect to achieve something tangible.
Okay, do you see the scarcity of the Naira notes as we have just now as what could pan out positively in terms of checking vote buying?
Well, of course, it will check vote buying, no doubt. But the hardship that it portends for the ordinary man, it's not and my gate man at home needs to be paid. But I don't have cash to pay him. I told him to give me an account details so I will pay his salary, his wage into it. He said he does not have an account. I've told him, look for account anywhere. You might have brothers, relatives, friends who can, you can use their account, to pay. And he cannot, provide account.
Okay.
Do you know that I paid extra 2,000 naira to access 10,000 naira?
That could be the sacrifice that you should take in order
so
for
if I have to pay
a election. Because you just said that he's going to check it, no doubt. So if this could be the little sacrifice you can take in order to check the election, in order to have this vote buying, kicked off, I think that is not too much for you to bear.
It might not be too much for me. What about the average man on the street?
Okay, let's take your response in this as regards vote buying. You see it as a tool to check it.
It's funny because I've often said this. You see, we don't, it's just like the proverbial way of trying to check a rat not getting in, you know, the access routes. There are several ways to induce people. Yes, yes, there are several ways to induce people. You don't have to literally give him cash. Okay, the same people in question, don't they have bank accounts? Don't they have bank accounts? Can't you also
transfer?
Transfer could also be done.
But basically, that's exactly what the CBN wants.
Hold on.
So because through that, they can know those who do it, and there will be evidence.
How will you know? How will you know? Okay, look at the primaries during the, what's it called, the delegates and stuff, and you saw were they even talking Naira? So what I'm talking about now is, it's not about finding a way to check them. You cannot check. See, there are certain things you cannot just check in that sense of it. You have to orient it and ensure the life of the people is going well. Someone who is hungry says you don't go and get some money. Why will you say that? Okay,
but are you saying that transactions can't be monitored online?
It can be. It can be. Okay, if for instance, I'm in the ballots, I'm running for election, he's my brother. Okay, my brother is in the village. He has some money there and they have some network. These politicians have their way. They know the people, they know those they are going to meet. You don't give everybody money. There's a leader, you give money.
Okay, but if the system will have to work the way it should work, and these transactions can be monitored online, they can be intercepted. Don't you think
I'm saying I disagree. How? Where is the technology? What have they been intercepting since? When people's money are made from their account and wrong payments are, okay, somebody mistakenly paid to another account, they take you ages to get it back, and you said it can be monitored, and they tell you they don't know. A lot of things are going on. Let's not deceive ourselves about it. We don't have the capacity to do that. I tell you, I make that very clear.
So basically you are saying that it cannot check the bank.
It won't.
Okay, let's take a response in that, Comrade Cosmos.
To a very considerable extent, I seem to tilt to the side of the fact that it can checkmate it.
It can checkmate it.
If the intent is genuine, I always say that. Because we might be thinking A or right, while those who are doing it are actually thinking left.
Because your fear again is that it could be in the hands of a certain political party
why
that is in power.
Anything at all. And another, when it has to do with election day, there's no way you can do transfer. Like my brother, you know, he's not a politician.
I'm not a politician, but MOU can be a sign. We have MOU everywhere. It works.
Once you are in the field, they want cash.
They want cash.
Not transfer. Give me cash.
But this could be
a politician will even.
But this could be a turning point. Looking at the cash crunch we are faced with.
No politician will do transfer. No politician, even if it's $1 billion, wants to give out his cash because he knows that can be traced to him.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
And that one is that even if you give money to the political leaders in various areas, they hold the money on that very day. That's when they give out this money. There's nothing like transferring. How many people have this thing? What do you call it? Accounts in the village.
Mostly in the rural areas, in the hinterlands.
And that's where rigging and all that takes place. Wards in rural areas. So I said, give me forehand, straight. So like I said, there are two ways to it. I am feeling the pains, you understand? But if the intent is genuine, let me happily feel the pains. Because all we are saying, the ills in this country starts with just a right person. I mean, ends with just a right person doing the right thing as the number one of the country. It's all policy. What is all we are saying nice? Financial policy. Somebody just said it and we are suffering. So if somebody says the good thing and does the good thing, we'll start smiling. It's all bad leadership. And then coupled with overwhelming effect of bad, let me use the word super bad followership. Because as bad as it is now, shamefully, some people are saying they are doing the right thing. Let me just cite an instance. Somebody who works in my office, we got talking. Then I asked him, I said, how do you evaluate the government of the day with regards to policies and all? He said 75%. I said, do you know that 75% is an A? He said, yes, I'll give him an A. I said, leave my office. Don't come to my office again. Because I gave him a leave my office. He said, well, I said, you can poison me. If, with regards to all we are suffering, banditry everywhere, corruption, and everything, you say, give this person an A, I fear you. So there are some people who don't want to know. All they say is party, party, party. They've forgotten that even these people you are partying with, we were once in another party, and now in this party.
All right.
Yeah, you are partying, and everything is going down. If I'm in chip a little with what the question you're asking, how do I evaluate the government of the day? He said, would you respect everybody? People say I'm very harsh with my statements. It's a hopeless failure.
No, you can't say that.
That's why I say
you can't say that. Well, that's your opinion. That's your opinion.
That's why I say
your opinion.
People say,
because if we want to measure something that is a failure, it should be measured with statistics. So if you are saying that it's a hopeless failure,
that's why I say
I don't get it.
If you will allow me, I'll give you the statistics, because the primary purpose of government is welfare. Tell me the welfare now. Is it fear? Is it economy? Because they came in with 3 pedestals. That they are going to fight corruption, they are going to improve on the economy, and then the issue of security.
Okay, but President, are we at war?
We are worse than those at war.
Oh.
When you are fighting within yourselves, it's worse than when you have a common enemy. We are worse than those at war as we speak now.
But we have relative security as we are here speaking.
Which security? Can you go
so you can't say that it's a failure.
Can you travel to your village? It's a hopeless failure.
All right, in case you're just joining us, it's TMI, and we are looking at the issue concerning the 2020 elections, the ripples effect of the petrol and Naira note scarcity, how it's going to impact on the 2020 reports. We just have 17 days to the presidential race, and of course, after which we have the governorship race. And discussing with me, I've got articulate discussants, starting with those I have in the studio, Derek Owango, and of course, Patrick Awo-Saige and Comrade Irabo Cosmos, and also via Zoom from the United States, Texas, Ahmed Momodu. Thanks, Ahmed Momodu, for still holding the Zoom meeting with us.
Thank you, Philip.
All right, Ahmed, we are in a very dicey moment in the Nigerian story as we head towards the polls. And some are saying that because we cannot but look at the possibility of some having a hidden agenda, to intercept or compromise the system in order to make it degenerate to a point where Nigerians will not have to go all out protesting and then shifting the elections, and then we have a challenge where we are saying that we may not be able to hold a credible election in 2023. Do you see the possibility of the handiwork of some who have a hidden agenda, to make this pan out?
Oh, definitely. There's always, in every misfortune, there is always somebody that is gaining. So that cannot be taken out of it. But let us come to the fact of the matter. The INEC has made it clear, the federal government has made it clear that the date for the presidential elections is sacrosanct. And we must take their word up to this point. We have only 17 days, like you pointed out. So let's see how that plays out. I believe we are going to have a presidential election. I believe it's going to be mostly free and fair. I believe even though the country is trying to go cashless, maybe because our politicians are not ready to go cashless, that's why we're having these problems. So, but let us see how it plays out. Let's be optimistic that progress is incremental and we are getting there bit by bit.
Okay, but some have said that the party in power, where we have the President Muhammadu Buhari as the leader of that party, that the president is not doing justice, is not doing well, for the party in power, because all of these pains, hardship, excruciating moments that Nigerians are going through could be used in election to vote out the party in power.
So we have people who, yes, narrow themselves to their own environment, and then we have people who have a worldview of things. Nigeria has, just like the rest of the world, suffered the consequences of 2 natural disasters that even in the US we are recovering from. There is a scarcity of eggs as I speak to you right now. The economy is in shambles. Payments are not regular, and so on and so forth. So the whole world is in a depression. By and large, the sincerity of President Buhari cannot be questioned. His integrity is intact. He has made giant strides in infrastructural and economic development as well. So let us not overlook these things. What we have is a problem that is facing us at this time, and everybody should rise up to try and face that challenge squarely.
Okay, the giant stride you are saying that the president has made, don't you see this policy, wrong implementation of this policy, as I believe you agree that the implementation is wrong? Don't you see this as roughening the edges of the, in quotes, the wonderful, immaculate policies under President Muhammadu Buhari's government?
Oh yeah, my words were not immaculate or wonderful. My words were giant strides in infrastructural development and economic development. So Philip, what we are seeing is definitely a policy misstep. What we are seeing is definitely CBN not preparing adequately. Like one of the co-discussants there said, He gave the example of India and China and told us the statistics and what the challenge that they are not reinventing the wheel. The CBN should have been adequately prepared for the right and wrongs of whatever this policy is. And what we are seeing is the wrong. So we must clearly come out in one voice and challenge them to do better.
Okay.
The government is expected to stand up and do better.
You are resident in the United States, and of course you are in Texas, Houston. And you see the policies in the developed polity, how it pans out and how it brings about welfare development to the people. Now, if we are to make a comparative study with this and that of the President Muhammadu Buhari's government, what do you see that the people must have benefited from the government of Buhari?
Okay, so look at what the World Bank is saying. Look at what CNN is saying. Those are international bodies that are telling you that Nigeria is an awakening giant. He has been able to use the monies that he has borrowed to make infrastructural development that is the foundation for any society to grow. Look at railways, for example. The whole of America was built on the back of railways, because railway is the cheapest form of mass transportation. You can move goods and services from one part of the country to the other, and human beings also. So industrial revolution in America was built on the back of railways. Now we have railways. It might be small, but it's going to expand. We have infrastructural development. People in the hinterlands are able to bring their food stuff closer to where you can buy them. I'm not saying that poverty is not a problem, but I'm saying that the access to food is better. And then if you build on that infrastructural development, that is how economies grow. Look at even the changes that he has done to autonomy of the local government, the state government, and the legislature. So we are seeing incremental development.
Okay, but you agree with me that when it comes to petrol scarcity, that's a huge challenge for Nigerians, and they could be making very, very decisive actions, you know, in that regard, political-wise. Now, don't you see the office of the president as should have taken a giant strides in making sure, because we've said it just now, that when we have huge supplies, you know, it would go against scarcity. And don't you see the president should have taken some laudable policies, implement them in order to have huge quantity of petrol, you know, flooding the streets of the country for us not to have this scarcity? Don't you see him failing in that regard?
Oh, definitely. The buck stops at the office of the president. And as long as the people are suffering, he is responsible for their suffering. But the context of it is just as important as the facts of it. We are talking about cashless transition, and that economy, the petrochemical economy, it depends mostly and entirely on cash. Let's not also forget that we are also supposed to be talking about the Dangote refinery coming on stream. And that is going to ameliorate a lot of the difficulties that we're experiencing. We have a cash crunch, we have a currency exchange, and we're talking about a financial foreign exchange crunch at the same time. So it's a series of unfortunate events that have conspired to come at this point in time. We must all be patriotic at this time and try and look beyond the problems of now and see what the future will hold.
Thank you very much, Ahmed Momodu, for taking our time to be part of this Zoom meeting. And well, I hope you have a beautiful day ahead of you. And this is an opportunity for you to go back to bed. I believe it's still early hours of the morning. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Philip. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Now. Let's look at what we have here in our hands. We've articulated points concerning how the government under President Muhammadu Buhari has fared well, like he said. Do you have any reactions in that regard?
Yeah, it would be very disrespectful for him to say President Buhari have made giant stride, that his integrity is intact. It is disrespectful to the honest Nigeria out there for you to say Buhari have done well as a president. Remember the mantra that brought him in.
It's his opinion. Don't forget. It's his opinion.
But it's disrespectful.
Just as you have your opinion.
But it is disrespectful to the Nigerian people. Now, Buhari said he's going to fight corruption. Buhari said he was going to fight insecurity. Buhari said he was going to fight hunger. Buhari said he was going to make Naira $1 equal to 1 Naira. Buhari said he was going to erase poverty. And what have you? All the promises that this man made, there's not single one that have been able to achieve. No single promise. You can, as a matter of fact, I'd like to know if there's any. You can give him another chance to say.
Well, that's your perspective, because everyone is seeing from the perspective. Just as he is seeing his from his own perspective, you're also seeing it from the perspective.
When you say the mass integrity is intact, has it been able to improve on our health sector? This is a president that goes abroad for medical tourism. It does not assess our health sector. Yet, billions of naira is allocated to the Aso Rock clinic. Yet, nothing is happening there.
You see that as a misnomer?
Of course, and you are telling me that this man's integrity is intact. This is somebody who has continuously lied to us. Okay. This is somebody who took the position.
You've articulated your point.
Who has taken the position
we don't need to resolve the politics.
petroleum.
You've articulated your point. Let's get your response on this, Patrick Awosege.
Thank you.
On the reactions on the statement made by Ahmed Mamadou, lauding the policies of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Like he said, what he was trying, or what, let me not try to garnish, what he said is that he had made giant strides, enumerating some of the things like the, railway, and I hope...
Do you concur?
Hold on, don't jump into conclusions yet. Now look at the rail. We have a rail track that's working that is not secured, and people are being killed. We saw those that were put out of, what are we saying?
So you don't agree?
I disagree in entirety, and that's the truth. We must not try to... obviously, you will definitely make an impact or try to do something.
Okay, but do you see what is turning out right now as what could be a nightmare for the presidential candidate of the APC in the elections?
See, who is the presidential candidate of the APC? Is a presidential candidate Nigerians? I'm not interested in those names you are calling. I'm concerned about the country. He is president of Nigeria, not president of APC.
No. I'm talking about what
you said the
policies, the implementation of the policies of President Muhammadu Buhari that you are saying that you disagree that they're not giant strides.
Yes.
Do you see this as rubbing negatively on the presidential candidates of the APC?
As far as
in
Nigerian,
Tinubu?
yes, it will rub
Do you
off
see
on
it affecting his chances of winning the election? I mean,
how would that be the? I don't. In what aspect are you looking at?
Some Nigerians are saying that they are tired of APC, the party in power.
Yes, exactly.
And so you just said that you don't agree that the President Muhammadu Buhari government has brought about giant strides. So don't you think this will rub off negatively on the candidate of the party?
That is the challenge. Nigerians don't operate that way.
Really?
Yes. I think it's Patrice Lumumba, Professor Patrice Lumumba, that said Africans are led by their belly. They are not led by ideologies and ideas. So that's how it is. So they forget quickly. If we don't forget as a nation, what happened a few years ago, a few months ago, we have forgotten.
Have you forgotten again what happened in 2015? Where there was a massive crowd for the president that made him win the election?
I agree.
Are you not sure that same thing could happen? Looking at the challenge we are faced with the petrol scarcity, are you not sure that decisions could be made at the point of the electorate to remove the party in power?
See, see, those in offices, in authority, they know how to they know their crowd, they know their people.
Are you talking about the incumbency factor?
Not incumbency factor, Jonathan election. That's not what we're talking. We're talking about they know how to address their people. It's just like one who knows how to tame a dog. That's how it is. Now, when they get to the election proper, you're going to see some petrol, you're going to see some magnanimous stuff, you're going to see some ATM working, and Nigerians just easily forget. You just see some, but things are working now, we could go to the bank, and we could go drive into the filling station and buy. Just let it run for a while.
Okay, but how do we correct the system?
How do we correct the system? It's just for us to, we hope for the best, like I said. The leadership, you are asking a question, you say whether the people will now, because of this, we are going to vote out the APC. I disagree with you. I disagree with you because that will not be the issue. Because we don't think, we don't reflect. That's the challenge.
Okay.
The moment this moment slides, Nigerians are forgotten.
Okay, let's take your bite in all of these reactions made by Patrick Awosege.
I was saying, when a man makes a statement, the first thing you do is check the background of that particular person. When somebody who was an SA to the same APC government claims the APC government is doing so well, they have scored XYZ 100% and all, yet the same people left the country. If things are working so well, why will you leave? If the educational system are working well, why will you go and do your master's or PhD, whatever? Why are you going for greener pasture if the things are working well here? So that's one aspect of it. We can be somewhere saying everything is 100%, not 100%. Stay here if it's 100% and enjoy with us. If you look at the chicken, if you light a lantern and you put it inside, how do you know the lantern is too hot? You see them staying away from the lantern. If the lantern is not hot enough, the heat on the lantern is not, they come too close to it. If the system is working well, why are you leaving? And then you say the man has scored 100% in disease. Talk of the rail system. Who started it? Is it this administration? I'm not saying they've not done well by improving on it. But who started it?
Oh, you agree that they've improved on it?
Yes.
The government of Buhari.
They improved on it by making it rule. Because driving is not moving a car. Driving is the actual control of that particular vehicle. Okay, you make it roll, and what happens? People are dying on a daily basis. And let me shock you. There was this rail station attack in Edo State. The governor stood his ground. The people were rescued, and some of them were arrested. Is it not within about 3-4 days?
Absolutely.
Because he wanted it.
Yes.
The one that happened in wherever happened,
Kaduna.
The federal government, what was the federal government able to do?
They are still there.
You know, so it's all about what you want to do.
Okay, what are your closing remarks on this?
My closing remarks? If I tell you, people will say I'm harsh. I'm not supposed. What is my personal opinion? Like you say, rationally, if Nigerians are rational, I tell you, the government of the day will not have the moral justification to speak. Because that was the same thing they said, that let this government come in. But because of most of our irrationality, like my brother said, we forget so easily. These people will come and talk and they'll say, hey.
Chairman.
And watch out these presidential candidates. They have nothing to say. All they come is abuse people. Somebody who came and who rose to prominence.
Cutting across all the political parties.
A particular political party. Somebody who came and said, I'm this, I stand for the masses. Put some khaki, say I'm labor this, labor that. You rose to prominence. The moment you got there, the reverse became the case. The same masses that say, you represent, they're not the same masses you are attacking. What a country. Yeah, that's a person comes out to talk. They say, oh, you are this, you are that, you are that. So the problem is really not the leadership. It's the followership. That's why I said the overwhelming effect of the followership problem.
Thank you for that, Comrade Cosmos. But let's take your closing remarks on this, Derek.
Well, my closing remark is for the people out there. I want you all to get prepared to vote conscientiously. Know the pain that you have felt for the last 7.5+ years. Know that this can be worse if you continue.
You leave them to decide that.
You said my closing remark. Allow me speak. You
appear to be campaigning for a party. You can't make reference to the government in power when you said 7.5 years. You can't make reference to the government in power.
The first speaks for itself. It is a fact. Are you not feeling hardship? Do you have petrol? Do you have cash in your pocket? It is a fact. Do you have electricity?
It's your opinion.
You know, so Nigerians, wonder, know who is your friend and who is your enemy. Know who have the best policies to lead Nigeria to that state of Eldorado that we have all clamored for. Know who will be able to bring us out of the woods in relation to our economic recovery. Remember in the 80s, Nigeria had a lot of developmental projects. Nigeria also had industries. We had that battery, we had Lila producing trucks, buses. We had the Aba fabricating a lot of items, producing goods that were comparable to made in Taiwan. China was nowhere to be found there, but today China has the highest foreign reserve in the world. Nigeria still have hope. But our hope only is hinged on the right set of people to lead this nation out of the woods. Don't forget that.
Okay, well, I don't know if Ahmed Momodu is still there, but I think if you want to make reactions to that, I'm going to be giving you a minute to do that. But let's quickly get to your closing remarks on that.
It's quite interesting, and Nigerians should be more concerned. You know, we shouldn't be negligent and careless at this time. We should be very, very determined to do the right thing. Forget what they are telling you. Just look at your environment, look at what you are facing, and know those persons, those characters that you know that will be able to at least come up to some 50% of what they are saying. Because it's with the church that said politicians don't even believe themselves. They are wondering why you are believing what they are saying. That's what Winston Churchill told us. So I want to encourage you, in as much as politicians will come to tell you nice things, but just try to check track record of character of those. Because it's Martin Luther that said, judge people by the content of their character, not the color of skin. So you should look at these guys and look at whoever is coming to tell, look at his character, look at their track record, look at how they have been when they have been given opportunity prior to now. I think that is what will give us a better way to vote in those.
All right, thank you. I don't know. I think I'm giving extra. Okay, but I said you should have your closing remarks. Okay, let me extend that to you because I will also be extending that to Ahmed Momodu to make his closing remarks.
It's simple. Election is by the corner.
Okay.
It's time again to decide. If you want to make a decision where 4,000 Naira will take you for 4 years, it's okay by you. But I want to say that the buck ends at the table of the president. So when you want to vote for who will be the president, vote for somebody who has capacity, who knows exactly what the country needs. Not somebody who will come and be blah, 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 has nothing to say and all that. Vote for capacity. Vote for somebody who is able to tell the problem and give you solution to the problem.
Thank you. Thank you. Ahmed Momodu, let's get your closing remarks if you are still there. Hello, Ahmed.
Oh, yes, I'm here, and I'm thankful for the chance to reiterate. It might be painful for the people that have not left the shores of
Nigeria. Okay, but I will appreciate if it's on the screen so that we can also... Okay, good. So get your closing remarks on this.
Let us be able to look at Nigeria holistically. We may not be where we are trying to be, but we are on our way to getting there. In this coming election, we should be looking for people that will show the capacity, that have shown historical capacity to further the economies that they are in charge of, to better the lives of the people that they've been in control of, and to be able to see a bigger vision than when you stay in one part of the world and you are shouting endlessly. Let us understand that there is a contextual relationship between all the nations of the world and the economies therein and their relationship and how they fare. When things are going wrong in the whole world, Nigeria will not be isolated. On that note, Nigerians, vote with sense. Use your PVC, do your right, and make sure you elect somebody with capacity.
Thank you, Ahmed Momodu, and big thanks, everyone. Thank you, gentlemen, for your dexterity and maturity in handling the discussion today. And we just hope you have a beautiful day ahead of you. This is where we call it a wrap on the segment, and of course, on TMI Tuesday. And just ensure that you make good use of your PVC by coming out to vote, to cast your vote, come February 25 and of course March 11. On behalf of the entire production team that made this edition a success, I am Philip Omo Gupon, and I'm saying stay away from trouble and have a beautiful day ahead of you. Goodbye.